Tower of Babel is one of the most famous and intriguing stories from the book of Genesis in the Bible. It recounts how the people of the ancient world came together to build a colossal tower that would reach up to the heavens. This audacious act of hubris, however, was met with divine retribution as God confused their language and scattered them across the earth. The tale of the Tower of Babel has captivated the imaginations of believers and scholars alike for centuries. What was the true nature and purpose of this enigmatic structure? Did it really reach into the sky as the biblical account suggests? And what does this story tell us about the early societies and belief systems of the ancient Near East? In this video, we'll delve into the mystery surrounding the Tower of Babel, examining the archaeological evidence, analyzing the biblical text, and exploring various theories and interpretations that have emerged over time. We'll seek to uncover the truth behind this legendary edifice and the motivations of those who dared to build it. The biblical account of the Tower of Babel is found in Genesis 11 verses 1 to 9. According to the text, the entire world spoke a single language and had migrated eastward to the land of Shinar, or Mesopotamia. There, the people came together and said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city, and a tower with its top in the heavens, and let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be dispersed over the face of the whole earth." The description of the tower reaching into the heavens has often been interpreted literally, with many believing that the ancient builders were attempting to construct a physical structure that would touch the abode of the gods. This grandiose ambition, however, incurred the wrath of the Lord, who saw the tower as a symbol of human pride and a challenge to his authority. To thwart their efforts, God confounded the language of the people, causing them to speak in different tongues and rendering communication impossible. As a result, the construction was abandoned, and the people were scattered across the face of the earth, giving rise to the diverse cultures and languages we know today. The biblical account of the Tower of Babel has long been a source of fascination and debate among scholars and theologians. While some interpret the story as a literal historical event, others view it as a symbolic or allegorical tale, designed to convey deeper theological and philosophical truths. One of the key questions surrounding the Tower of Babel is the nature and purpose of the structure itself. The biblical text describes it as a city and a tower with its top in the heavens, but the exact nature of the building has been the subject of much speculation. Some scholars believe that the Tower of Babel was actually a ziggurat, a type of stepped pyramid common in ancient Mesopotamian architecture. Ziggurats were typically built as temple complexes, with the top platform serving as a sanctuary or shrine for the gods. These structures were often seen as a physical manifestation of the connection between the earthly and divine realms, with the tower representing a symbolic stairway to the heavens. Other researchers have suggested that the Tower of Babel may have been a massive royal or administrative complex, a symbol of the political and economic power of the ancient Mesopotamian civilizations. The desire to make a name for themselves could have been a reference to the tower serving as a monumental display of the people's technological and organizational prowess. Regardless of its precise purpose, the Tower of Babel is often seen as a representation of human ambition and the desire to challenge the boundaries of the natural world. The biblical account presents the tower as a symbol of human hubris, a testament to the folly of those who would dare to usurp the authority of the divine. In recent years, archaeologists have made several intriguing discoveries that have shed new light on the possible location and nature of the Tower of Babel. One of the most promising sites is the ancient city of Babylon, located in modern-day Iraq. Babylon was a major cultural and political center in ancient Mesopotamia, and its ruler, Nebuchadnezzar II, is known to have undertaken massive building projects, including the construction of a massive temple complex known as the Etemenanki. This structure, which was dedicated to the Mesopotamian god Marduk, was a towering ziggurat that was said to have been over 90 meters, 300 feet, tall. While the Etemenanki is not universally accepted as the Tower of Babel, the similarities between the two structures are striking. Both were massive, temple-like structures built in the Mesopotamian style, and both were believed to have served as a symbolic link between the earthly and divine realms. Moreover, the biblical account of the Tower of Babel describes it as being located in the land of Shinar, which is widely believed to correspond to the region of ancient Mesopotamia, where Babylon was situated. This has led many scholars to conclude that the Tower of Babel and the Etemenanke were one and the same. Another intriguing archaeological discovery that may shed light on the Tower of Babel is the discovery of the Göbekli Tepe site in southeastern Turkey. This ancient religious complex, which predates the pyramids of Egypt by thousands of years, features massive stone pillars and structures that some researchers believe may have been the inspiration for the biblical account of the Tower of Babel. The Göbekli Tepe site, which dates back to the Neolithic period, is thought to have been a gathering place for early human societies, where they came together to worship and engage in religious rituals. The sheer scale and complexity of the site, with its massive stone pillars and intricate carvings, suggest that these early societies were capable of organizing and mobilizing large numbers of people to undertake ambitious construction projects. While the Göbekli Tepe site is much older than the traditional dating of the Tower of Babel, some scholars have suggested that the biblical account may have been influenced by the memory of similar monumental structures built by early human civilizations in the ancient Near East. The desire to reach the heavens and the sense of human hubris that is so central to the Tower of Babel story may have been inspired by the awe-inspiring monuments of the Neolithic period. In addition to the archaeological evidence, scholars have also examined the biblical text itself to gain a deeper understanding of the Tower of Babel story. One of the key aspects of the narrative that has been the subject of much debate is the nature of the confusion of languages that God inflicted upon the people. The biblical text states that God confounded their language and scattered them abroad from there over the face of all the earth. This has often been interpreted as a literal, supernatural event in which the people suddenly began speaking in different languages, rendering communication and cooperation impossible. However, some scholars have suggested that the confusion of languages may have been a more gradual and natural process, driven by the dispersal of the people across different geographical regions. As the various groups settled in different areas, their languages would have evolved and diverged over time, leading to the emergence of distinct linguistic families and cultures. This interpretation is supported by the fact that the biblical account itself acknowledges the existence of different languages and nations prior to the Tower of Babel incident. The text states that the whole earth had one language and the same words, implying that this was a unique and temporary state of affairs. Furthermore, the idea of a single, universal language in the ancient world is not entirely plausible from a linguistic and anthropological perspective. Even in small-scale societies, linguistic diversity is the norm, with dialects and sublanguages often emerging within a relatively confined geographical area. In conclusion, the Tower of Babel is a fascinating and complex story that has captured the imagination of believers and scholars for centuries. While the exact nature and purpose of the structure remain shrouded in mystery, the narrative itself provides valuable insights into the cultural, theological, and philosophical preoccupations of the ancient Near East. Through a careful examination of the biblical text, the archaeological evidence, and the various interpretations that have emerged over time, we can gain a deeper understanding of the enduring significance of the Tower of Babel and its place in the broader tapestry of human history and culture. Whether viewed as a literal historical event or a symbolic and allegorical tale, the story of the Tower of Babel continues to captivate and inspire us, reminding us of the limits of human ambition and the importance of humility in the face of the divine.